You have found yourself on another episode of Locked On Bulls. On today's episode, we'll talk about the Bulls Summer League finale and what happened to Dalen Terry during that game. We'll go into our overall takeaways for the whole Summer League and then talk about DeMar DeRozan dropping a 30-piece in the Drew League. We'll get into all that and more on today's Locked On Bulls.
You are Locked On Bulls, your daily podcast on the Chicago Bulls, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Locked On Bulls, a member of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. And today's episode is brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline has you covered this season with more props, odds, and lines than ever before. Get BetOnline, it's where the game starts. That's Pat, the designer, host and creator of the Windy City Breeze, a.k.a. Big Yella, and I'm Haize, host and creator of Chicago Bulls Central, where I do cover the Bulls daily. We got to get into it today, though. Listen, it's a sign, right? With almost every player on the Bulls, you don't officially become a member of the Bulls until you give us an injury scare of some sort. Dalen Terry did that in the Summer League finale. Luckily, nothing major. It is a hamstring injury. He'll still be ready to go by training camp. No issues, no concerns there. But it was a very scary moment. So before we talk about the game overall, Pat, how scared were you seeing Dalen Terry hold his leg in a non-contact injury? It was shades of a couple of times in Bulls history. What did you think about it, bro?
I didn't think it was super serious because of the fact that, like, yes, he did go down and was holding a leg, but also, like, it didn't look like he was in the worst pain you'd ever seen in his life. And if he had went down like that and it was an ACL tear or an Achilles or something like that, like, we've seen those guys go down and it's like, oh man, yeah, he's going to be out for a while. So I felt like it was going to be something like it was smaller, but listen, when those smaller injuries have also come back to bite us in the butt as well. Right. But I didn't think it was going to be too bad. My only hope was that just let him be back by training camp. Cause the only thing that I thought, I was like, bro, our rookies never make it to training camp. They're never in training camp where they need to be the most. Like, didn't P. Will miss? What did he miss? His first training camp?
No, he missed the second training camp. It was the second training camp.
Did he miss the second one? And
yeah,
I know
he missed last year. I know
Kobe's just now getting a training camp this season. Get there, Kobe. But he's just now getting a training camp this season, and he's going into year 4 in the NBA. So just get the training camp, Dalen. That's all I'm asking.
But outside of that, he did play 10 minutes. He hit one field goal. He only took one. But outside of that, 100%. Marco Simmonovic had a great finale to his Summer League. 26 points, 8 rebounds, 1 steal, 1 block, positive plus minus of plus 12. Malcolm Hill with a 20-point game as well, 6 for 10 from the field. Carlik Jones, 7 for 12. From the field in this one. And then our boy McCord Maker as well, 2 for 4, but 11 points, 6 for 9 from free throws, 7 rebounds, 2 assists. Listen, this was a fun Summer League game, bro, especially as the last one. This has been a fun Summer League overall. This is honestly one of the more fun Summer Leagues I think I've had in recent memory. What about you?
I would agree because, like, here's the thing, right? Like, we all knew that Denzel and Tony Snell probably weren't going to be this good. So, like, watching them kill in Summer League was like, this is entertaining, but it means absolutely nothing. I feel like now, right, like because there's enough players that are unknown. We didn't have a lot of second-year guys in there. Malcolm Hill, really the only second-year guy. Marco, kind of, but we also didn't watch Marco year 1 with the Bulls. So, when you have a lot of those newer guys, when you have a lot of first year or players that are unknown to you, and all of a sudden they give you something exciting, there's always that moment of like, wow, I can't believe, like, this guy looks like this. I wasn't expecting him. It's had enough guys, right? We had the Carlik Joneses, we had the McCord Makers, the dudes that we were like, hey, yeah, they got some bodies that's gonna be on the court. And then you like see them make a, like, when I saw McCord Maker tween somebody and then jay it in their face, or when what was it? Who do we play game before? Was it Toronto we played before the Philly game?
No, it was the Hornets. Was that the Hornets game?
When he got jade in his face on one side and came down, and the first move was like, all right, pull up. Cash. I was like, okay, now, like, those are the moments that make a Summer League enjoyable for you. And even then, you still kind of like in the back of your head, like, I don't know how that's going to look against NBA talent. But it made it a lot more fun this year. I think this is probably the best one we've seen. I hate to say it, but since we won the Summer League championship, like this is probably the best Summer League we've seen. Last year's was kind of mad because Io was up and down. P. Will was up and down.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't Dougie McBucket's first Summer League game? I mean, Summer League. Wasn't that a fire Summer League too? Because I know we made the playoffs. That's still when they had the Summer League playoffs. I don't know if we made the championship game, but I know we made the playoffs. I can't remember who all was on that team.
That was a Blakeney.
It was a Blakeney, yes, because Antonio Blakeney was also on that team balling out.
Ham. Yeah, that's right. It was when KD like quote tweeted a clip of Antonio Blakeney just cooking mugs. He was like, "We can't get this dude in the league."
And yeah, we promptly tried. He got two seasons to try it out and it looked like garbage. But nonetheless, let's get back into this Summer League team. Somebody I also did not mention, Justin Lewis in this game, 5 for 10 from shooting, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, 11 points overall. Justin Lewis has had one of those Summer Leagues where I think if for anyone who's just a box score watcher, they're going to be like, hey man, listen, why is he on a 2-way contract? But if you watch the games, the way that where Justin Lewis is in position, how he moves, some of the things he does that doesn't necessarily register on the stat sheet, have actually made me probably a little bit more excited about Justin Lewis, even than what I was coming into Summer League as well. Him having a very solid game in this one. Javon Freeman Liberty finally pulling it too, but I wouldn't be surprised if his camp deal gets pulled and maybe we see Carlick Jones on that camp deal. If I'm being honest with you.
I wouldn't be surprised by it. The only thing that would change that to me is if you see Carlick Jones get offered a 2-way. I don't know how early another team can come in and offer him that 2-way, but
there's been a bevy of signings. It hasn't been any Bulls players so far, but after the championship game, there was like 10 signings announced by other teams on G League. So
I think that, that could be just because were they straight up or were they 2-ways?
They were
G League
some
signings I know you can do.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. But I think that like there's this like stillness around Bulls Nation looking at some of these dudes, and it's like, hey man, like he might be nice. Like we might want to hold on to them. Like out of everybody you saw, right? Like if you could only keep hold on.
That's takeaways. We'll get into that in the next section.
It's takeaways. All right, you going with that? You going with that? All right. Don't get ahead, Pat. Don't jump ahead.
Don't get ahead.
But no. I just feel like like when I looked at Justin Lewis's game, here's the interesting part about him to me.
Mm-hmm.
There's Marco Simmonovic is 7 foot, 6'11", 7 foot, 240 pounds, and I felt the entire Summer League like Justin Lewis was the biggest dude on the court.
Yeah.
Like just how he moved people, how he like it. My favorite part of, and it wasn't nothing major, but it was just to see a rookie do that. He would get under the rim, pump fake, everybody would jump, and then he'd be like, "All right, now it's my turn," and he'd rise up and just one hand jam it. And I felt like that was a really good thing to see from the young fella early on. And I felt, bro, if he comes like outside of Andre Drummond, he's probably the strongest dude on the team.
Oh yeah. Justin Lewis is. I know he's only 1 inch, 2 inches taller than him because Javonte Green is 6'4", but Justin Lewis is like the forward version of Javonte Green.
He's what we needed last season.
Yeah, like he literally is just like you see some of the things he does, and it's just like, first of all, he's not like just looking at him, he's not like super fast. Before his size and stuff, he's very quick. Speed and quickness are different. He's quick. I like the way he moves his feet. Yeah. He's quick. He's smart. I like Justin Lewis a lot. I'm glad that he is on a 2-way contract on this team, bro. One of the things that I will say in this game too was something that we don't talk about as often. The coach of this Summer League team has coached this team very well, and that sometimes goes overlooked. And I do want to acknowledge the job that he did as well, especially because he's the first one to really introduce a Dalen Terry to what an NBA style team. So shout out to John Bryant for his coaching job over the course of the Summer League for the Bulls as well, because even though the Bulls got blown out in that one game, they were very competently coached in Summer League, and I do appreciate that.
You got to look at the fact that since they've gotten their guys in here, right, whether we feel like it's been huge or not, Patrick Williams has definitely progressed. Ayo Dosunmu progressed quicker than we thought he was going to. Javonte Green has turned into a legitimate NBA role player that we didn't expect to see. You know,
he was a throw-in. He was a throw-in in that.
He was a throw-in piece. And now we're going to see, right, like John Bryant is getting them ready for Billy Donovan's system. And and these are the guys, right, that coach these young guys along. These are the guys that are going to move these young guys forward. And Bulls fans really got to take into account, like, for the fans that just want to go full development, I don't think that's possible anymore. But Billy Donovan is one of the best developers of young talent in the NBA. And we've got young talent on this team that is continuing to develop. Now, I will say there's some young talent that was here before Billy Donovan that you got to break a lot of bad habits with as well. So we'll see what ends up with that. But I'm excited at the job John Bryant did and at the job that Billy Donovan's going to continue to do with these guys, along with Coach Bryant coming in there.
Definitely. Next up, we're going to talk about our overall takeaways from Summer League as a whole. But first, got to talk to you guys about BetOnline. BetOnline is your number one source for all your betting needs and sports info. Find all the latest sports developments, league reviews, and news, including this year's NHL playoffs and Major League Baseball. And BetOnline is continued source for all your sports wagering information, including live betting, esports, and scores as well. And BetOnline remains the best spot for all your sports scores, podcasts, and news this season. BetOnline.net is the fastest and easiest way to check in on all your favorite sports events, including MMA, boxing, and golf. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends and action. BetOnline, it's where the game starts. All right, Pat, it's been a long couple of weeks of Summer League. Injury scare aside, we've gotten really to understand and see the skill set of Dalen Terry a little bit more, see Marco Simmonovic's development. Malcolm Hill, who also looks like he has developed some more consistency as well. You know, shout out to Malcolm Hill in that one. But overall, what are some of your biggest takeaways from this year's Summer League heading into the training camp in about a month or so?
Couple things, right? First big takeaway for me is that the Bulls are an attractive enough team now that young talent wants to be a part of this organization. We haven't seen that. And I think that's a small thing that people kind of overlooked. But you think about some of those Summer League teams that we had with Tony Snell and Denzel Valentine, who were the rest of them dudes? You know what I mean? Like who the rest? Like, you've got legit talent that wants to sign here. Justin Lewis wanted to sign here. McCord Maker wanted to sign here. Those are guys that the Bulls had to sit down and be like, hey, do you want to be a part of this organization one day? Yes, we do. Okay. So the Bulls are definitely attractive in that way as well. And I think that's interesting. On the flip side of that, right, my biggest takeaway is that they found so many guys and got so many guys to work in a system so quickly, but also allowed their guys to shine. There was a clear-cut effort to show that Marco Simmonovic can play basketball. There was a clear-cut effort to show that Dalen Terry's not bad. Like, you saw them first two games, Dalen Terry a little shaky, wasn't taking shots, trying to be the facilitator. He was like, go shoot the ball. go show what you can do. We want to see that. So I love how this Summer League team was coached. I love how it was put together. And I love how they showcased talent and allowed everybody to kind of have an opportunity, right? It didn't just force feed us Marco, force feed us Dalen Terry. Carlik Jones found time to shine. Malcolm Hill, like you said, found time to shine. And I think the biggest question you have to ask, right, with so many names on this Summer League, this is a question I was going to ask before, is if you could keep one, like, I love Malcolm Hill. I love that he turned himself into a player. But is he the one that you've got to keep on this two-way? Because there's a lot of names on here. I'm not going to lie. There's a better case for Carlik Jones than I thought there was at the beginning of Summer League to possibly take that two-way from Malcolm Hill. Right now, the biggest piece that Malcolm Hill has in his hat is that he's been in this system already and played NBA games.
Here's what I'm saying to that. I don't care about none of that. McCord Maker needs to be our second two-way contract player, period. That's my biggest takeaway is, listen, and here's the reason why, right? And this is no, because Malcolm Hill played a great Summer League. Let me be clear here. Yeah. Most years I'd be walking away saying, no, Malcolm Hill needs to keep that two-way contract. So let me be clear there. Yeah. He played great. I love what I saw from Malcolm Hill this Summer League. But when you look at a team that lacks in size, when you look at a team that sometimes lacks in play creation, when you look at a team that needs some height and shot blocking, McCord Maker brings the potential of all of that to the Chicago Bulls. Now, yeah, I'm not saying that I expect him to play a lot of games. If everybody's healthy, I don't expect Malcolm Hill to play a lot of games. But what Malcolm Hill brings, do we not have in Dalen Terry? Do we not have a degree from Derrick Jones Jr.? Do we not have a degree from Javonte Green? Malcolm Hill, yes, I love how he played. But I think we have some of that already on our roster. What we don't have is a 7-footer who can dribble like a guard, pass, shoot the ball, and do those and rebound the ball very well. We don't have very many. Do we have a 7-footer on this roster? No.
Drummond's 6'10".
Yeah.
No. Vooch is not. Drummond's not. Marco's close, but he's not.
Marco's
But
close,
no,
yeah, but he's not.
hold on. We can't disrespect the legend that is Tony Bradley standing over there 7 feet tall.
7'1", I think, actually. Yeah, I forgot about that. And McCormaker isn't truly 7 foot either. He's 6'11",
10,
but
6'11", something like that.
6'11", 236
here's,
pounds.
Here's the thing I'll ask you, right? Like, do you feel like I talked about it in my video today over on the Breeze, right? I feel like the Bulls for sure shored up their offense and their rebounding, I should say, this offseason by not even doing a ton. Now, health has to play into it. You got to have Patrick Williams be healthy, of course, Vooch. But I feel like if coming off of my bench, I've got Marco Simmonovic and Andre Drummond. I think Marco can give you 8 boards off of the bench. I know Drummond can give you 8 to 10. Like, Drummond rebounds in his sleep. Like, he gives you that.
He not just rebounded the ball just now in the game. There's not even an NBA game going on. He just got 2 rebounds.
He just got 2 rebounds, bro. Yeah, I mean, so like, do you feel like the Bulls shored up at least that size issue, right? Because I feel like Justin Lewis is a legit power forward in this league that can help with rebounding as well.
Well, no, I definitely think that we have some players that can help with rebounding. I'm just looking at it from a young prospect type thing. Listen, Malcolm Hill wasn't going to get it. Whoever's that second two-way contract, knock on wood, they ideally aren't going to be getting a lot of minutes regardless. But looking at McCormaker, he's 5 years younger than Malcolm Hill for one. For sure. So when you're looking at that, bringing him to the G League team, trying to develop and cultivate that talent, I just look at it like, hey man, you'd be crazy. Not now if he agrees to a camp deal or a G League deal and says, I'm not even going to look at any other teams. The Chicago Bulls offer me a G League deal. I'm going to go ahead and rock this out for at least the next season. All right, then maybe next year he's our two-way player. But either way, I need to see McCormaker in a Bulls G League uniform developing here, because if that hits, that's a nice guy. That's a nice guy piece to come off.
I think that's another question you have to ask with a lot of these G League things as well, right? Because in baseball, right, there's a lot of, hey, I'm a part of this organization and there's somebody ahead of me, but when that guy's gone, I'm the next guy. We saw the Cubs do it in baseball. We've seen the White Sox do it in baseball. And now the NBA is kind of turning the G League into a legitimate development league, you know, the D League like it used to be that never turned into anybody. But a legitimate development league. Are we going to start seeing some guys that just really want to be a part of an organization and say, like a McCormaker, hey, Vooch is 33 and you know, Tony Bradley's not really a factor for me. Andre Drummond's 28, and I don't think he's the kind of big that the Bulls want. I'm going to stick around in this organization 2 years, because I know I'm going to be the next starting big man on this team. Could we see that start to be a thing? Or
I think that's the way that the G League's going, and I think that's how we starting to see AK uses the G League as well. Like, so yeah, that's going to happen. I hope it happens sooner rather than later, but I definitely think that if McCormaker was like, look, the way that I look at it is this: while Tony Bradley, and there's many people, me included, crap on Tony Bradley, there were some games that Tony Bradley played great, right? I do want to be honest in that. There's a game where he had a double-double. He had 10 points and 10 rebounds coming off the bench, and he played really solid that game, but it wasn't consistent, right? If you're not going to have consistency coming off your bench, and Tony Bradley's probably not going to be back next season anyway, right? This is his last season in the Bulls uniform, unless he turns it around. Having Andre Drummond there turns it around for him. You know, shout out to him if he does it.
Into a dog off of the bench,
man. Listen. Unless that happens, man, I really do think that you want to have a young big like McCormaker in your developmental league, because hey, Tony Bradley leaves. You could bring McCord, especially next season. The Bulls may be looking to save on, you know, make a big move, and how else you can fill that roster with cheaper contracts. McCormaker's going to come in making a veteran. So yeah, you know, we'll see.
It's going to be interesting to see kind of how the G League shapes out, and I think the Bulls are. I feel like we've talked about it. We've probably been one of the few shows that have talked about it this much. But I mean, like when you see what AK is really doing with the G League, it feels like the minor league. Yeah. Like, it doesn't feel like it's a separate league. Like, it feels like this is a minor league system. Exactly. And you're going to see these guys on your main roster someday. And these are going to be players of your future. Like, when Patrick Williams is into year 8 in the NBA, we're going to see, like, McCour Maker coming up on a on a actual getting his first big contract. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I love that we're finally getting to this point in the NBA because there's so much talent that ends up on other teams because it just takes them a couple of years to figure it out.
Yeah.
And I think there's a limit with it, isn't it? You can only be there you can only be on a G League.
Oh, I had no idea that there was a limit to that.
I thought there was a limit on the G League. Maybe two-way is the limit where you can only be on it for a certain amount of time, and then you either got to be on one roster or the other.
Well, I know that with the two-way contract, there's a certain number. So after you play a certain amount of games in the actual NBA, then you have to just stay on that NBA roster. You can't go back to
maybe that's what it was.
It converts to minimum.
I don't think we got to worry about that with Malcolm Hill.
No.
Although he did get a lot of games last year.
But last year was because of COVID. Last year was specifically because of the COVID thing.
He got a lot of games last year. Before we get into the final topic of the day, man, we do got to let you guys know that the NFL Top 50 is here, and with the NFL star how'd they write this out? Which NFL stars move the betting line the most? Starting July 18th, Locked On is going to give you the 50 most valuable players in the NFL from the odds makers at betonline.com. Available July 18th on Locked On NFL, wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. So make sure that you guys check that out. And now, let's get into this final topic, my boy, because Debo is a good one.
Listen. So DeMar DeRozan played down in the Drew League, man. Dropped a 30-piece team with LeBron. I love that DeMar just always plays basketball. Like, it's like DeMar literally does not take an offseason. He's always playing basketball.
Yeah,
always playing basketball. But what do you make of DeMar down in Drew League? And would you not like to see some other Bulls players play in Drew League? Go ahead.
Are we making anything up? First off, no, because the players that I want to see play in Drew League. First off, the last time we had a player play in Drew League, he got dropped off by Frank Nitti. So I don't need that going into it.
That was a different play. Listen.
He got cooked. Hey, hold on.
Was it Denzel Valentine?
We had promising feelings about Denzel all until that moment. When we saw that, we were like, bro, he's on our roster. Bro, could you imagine? Like there were people that were out here like, nah, Denzel's not getting an opportunity to shine, bro. He need the ball in his hands. At Michigan, he had the ball in his hands. He could move it around. Bro, Frank Nitti did that to that boy. We was like, hey, man, we drafted him.
Bro, can you imagine being somebody who's not in the NBA and you cook an NBA player?
Well, here's the thing that I do got to ask you, right? Because I don't know if you saw it, right? There was a little bit of a kerfuffle. I don't know how to throw that out there, but a little bit of a skirmish between DeMar and one of the guys on the other team that was out there. He said he was clamping up DeMar, man. He said he had a couple air balls, made DeMar. DeMar was getting a little testy. He was talking a little trash to him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like is that just his 15 minutes of fame, or is he?
Because
Debo's struggling a little bit.
Listen. We all know, right? This isn't Denzel Valentine. We know what Debo can be. So that's just a 50. Like enjoy your 15 minutes of fame, fam.
Hey, man,
we all know you're not locking up DeMar DeRozan.
You gotta think about it though. That's first off, Debo being in summer league and you playing against him. Or not summer league. I'm sorry, the Drew League, and you're good enough to be in the Drew League. That's dope as heck already because you're going up against NBA players. And then on top of that, right, Debo's having a great game, and then you make him work probably the hardest he's worked all day. Because did you see any of the highlights of it?
Yeah, of course.
He wasn't working that hard. Debo, hey,
that was basically a live workout session for DeMar DeRozan. That's all that was.
Bro,
DeMar could have easily dropped 60 in that game. Easily.
Bro, when I tell you he had somebody back to the basket, turn around, post fade about 4 times in a row, I was like, God, it looks like the league, except you don't look like you belong against him. But I loved Drew League, man. I thought that it was dope. Thought it was dope that the King teamed up. Yeah, I mean, we got to see what that might have looked like, and it looks better in a Bulls jersey. That's all I'm gonna say.
LeBron missed out. He could have had DeMar as his teammate. You know what's funny? On Frank Nitty's Wikipedia page, the third paragraph, in 2018, Nitti gained significant attention for scoring 44 points on Chicago Bulls player Denzel Valentine.
And then Denzel dropped an album that flopped, and Stacey King ended his career by going, "Oh no."
Yeah. Oh man. Shout out. Listen, that is crazy, bro. That is
Hey,
wild.
bro.
Could you imagine what the fan base would, the ones who already Patrick Williams is going to develop in anything if Patrick Williams
Oh
happened to
my
get cooking in Drew
God.
League?
Bro, you know what though? This the thing. There's certain dudes that I don't see no chance. Like it would be really tough to cook P. Will and Drew League.
Oh, there's no way. I'm not saying
Like
there's no way
it's
it's that.
tough
Yeah.
for LeBron to get cooked, or for LeBron to cook P. Will. Yeah, I mean, like P. Will makes a lot of good people's lives in the NBA hard. So like P. Will and Drew League, who would be the player you would want to see in Drew League besides Debo? I don't want to see Zach because he's coming off a knee scope. Lonzo's played in Drew League, right?
Yeah, Lonzo's played in Drew League.
I think Lonzo's played in Drew League.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Is there somebody on this Bulls roster? Javonte Green.
Javonte Green.
I would love to see Javonte Green in Drew League.
You know what? And Derrick Jones Jr. for that matter. I would love to see both of them in Drew League.
I feel like DJJ might get done up. I ain't gonna lie to you. It's a lot of good players in Drew League.
There is. Yeah, there is.
Yeah, it's a lot of like that. I know they're not in the league, and people talk about it like, oh, you got cooked by somebody who's not in the NBA. There's a lot of dudes that are really good basketball players, and they don't make the NBA.
Yeah.
They usually end up becoming trainers. There's usually something that went into it, or they're usually just guys that are still working towards their dream and they play overseas and stuff like that. But like, bro, I'm not gonna lie to you. Like Javonte Green in Drew League, we already see him in the NBA. He just want to dunk on everybody. There's not gonna be that many dudes that's gonna stop him from rising up.
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to think who else would I wouldn't mind seeing Io in the Drew League, but I don't think Io will. Io doesn't really have the necessary, like his defense is going to be great, but he doesn't necessarily have the type of game that's a Drew League game, right? Not to say he ain't gonna cook some players. Yeah,
he would just be going through the motions.
I mean, Zach would be great in the Drew League game too, but I don't want to see Zach do nothing that's not in the Bulls uniform. We don't even want to risk that.
Just keep playing Bulls ball,
you the $200 million man at this point. We don't need to see none of that.
I'm trying to think, right? And I mean, listen, it's crazy that we saw LeBron go there.
Yeah,
is that a signal of how he feels next season is going? Like we know, right? Like LeBron really. If you think about it at his base, like, listen, this guy plays basketball for a living. I'm sure that he's fine. But if something fluky happens and Brian gets hurt at Drew League, is crazy. But
the thing is that LeBron's whole career at this point is on. He's just waiting to be able to say he played with his son, bro. I fully like if he can win a couple of more titles on the way to that, okay. But I truly believe at this point, LeBron's just like, listen, man, I've been in the league 20 years. All I want to do is play one season with my son, and then I'm gonna go ahead and ride on it.
Does he stop at 20? Has he got a little OCD? Like, is it a clean slate?
No, because Bronny still has 2 more years left until he's in the league, right?
Yeah, that's facts.
Yeah, so yeah, no, LeBron is gonna stay around till then, bro. Like Bronny may hit. I'm not Bronny, but Bron may hit. I say Bron 25 years in the league, and that's it. He's gonna at year 25. Nice.
25,
maybe 23,
nice.
Maybe 23.
Cool, okay, maybe. That's too symbolic for me. Let's go 25. It's too symbolic for me. I don't like it. I can see Brian playing 5 more years.
Yeah,
that's a lot of basketball.
That's a lot of basketball.
That's a lot of basketball.
That's why I think. Yeah, I think the 5 is too much, bro. I'm gonna say he's
38 right now.
I'm gonna say 23, bro.
43.
I'm saying he goes 23, 41 years old, bro.
Is he trying to play older than Jordan did? Is that the goal?
But my thing is because we know it. He retires at year 23. MJ owns number 23, even though LeBron played great when he wore number 23. MJ owns 23, but if you retired on the 23rd year, they always got to say he played 23 seasons.
Yeah. That's tough. That's crazy. LeBron is 38, bro. He's gonna be 42 when he leaves the NBA. If he does it the way we talking about.
That is wild, man.
Oh man. I think that's it for us, my boy. That's it, man.
That's it. We're gonna go ahead and send them off. Go ahead, brother. Go ahead and listen to them.
So right there. Shout out to y'all for tuning in and rocking with us, man. Follow me on everything at Pat the Designer. Make sure y'all follow us both on everything at Locked On Bulls. Appreciate y'all for showing so much love.
And you can follow me at CEO Haize at CEO Haize. And thank you for listening and making Locked On Bulls your first listen today. Now, for your second listen, go and check on Locked On NBA, where the Locked On experts break down all the latest news and developments going on around the league in 30 minutes or less. They're available wherever you get your podcasts. But that's it for us for today. For Pat the Designer, I'm Haize. This is Locked On Bulls, and we out, y'all. Peace.
Peace. Y'all stay safe out there, Chicago.